A post that claims to list 10 controversial recommendations of the Sachar Committee is being shared widely on social media platforms. The post claims that the recommendations of the committee include double voting rights for Muslims, reserving 30% of MP seats and 40% of MLA seats in the country for Muslims, and providing 7 lakh rupees for the marriage of Muslim girls, among others. The Sachar Committee was a 7-member high-level committee established in March 2005 by former Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Chaired by former Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, Rajendra Sachar, the committee was tasked with studying the social, economic, and educational conditions of Muslims in India. The committee submitted its report in 2006, titled Social, Economic, and Educational Status of the Muslim Community of India. It included recommendations, suggestions, and solutions aimed at fostering the inclusive development of Muslims in India. The committee's report, along with its 76 recommendations, is publicly available on the website of the Ministry of Minority Affairs. Let's verify each of the recommendations listed in the viral post in this video. The first is the claim that the committee recommended double voting rights for Muslims. However, the Sachar Committee report does not propose any changes to voting rights for Muslims or any other group. The report operates within the framework of the Indian Constitution, which ensures one person, one vote for all citizens regardless of religion, caste or gender. The committee highlights the issue of missing Muslim names in the voter list, which disempowers them. The second claim is that the committee recommended that Muslims get reservation benefits on par with the SC, ST and OBC groups. However, the Sachar Committee report does not recommend blanket reservation benefits for all Muslims on par with scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, but it does advocate for including disadvantaged Muslim groups under the other backward classes category. It highlights that many Muslims, particularly Ajlafs and Arzals, are already socio-economically comparable to Hindu OBCs and should benefit from reservations. The report points out the exclusion of Arzal Muslims from SC reservations due to the Presidential Order of 1950 and suggests considering them for inclusion in SC or a most backward classes category under OBC. State models like those of Kerala and Karnataka, where reservations or sub-quotas for Muslims are implemented, are cited as successful examples of affirmative action tailored to specific needs. The third recommendation is the writing off of 50% of loans and allocating 20% of the budget for Muslims. But the claim that the government should pay half of a Muslim's bank loan and reserve 20% of India's total budget for Muslims is false and unsupported by the Sachar Committee report. The report highlights limited access to institutional credit for Muslims and recommends increasing financial inclusion by improving banking infrastructure and ensuring fair distribution of priority sector loans, but it does not suggest any loan repayment by the government. Similarly, the report emphasizes equitable resource allocation for marginalized communities, including Muslims, particularly in education, healthcare, and infrastructure, but it does not propose reserving a fixed percentage of the national budget exclusively for Muslims. The fourth claim is that the committee recommended free education for Muslims for all undergraduate courses at premier institutions. But this is a misrepresentation of the report's intent and recommendations. The report focuses on addressing the educational backwardness of the Muslim community by recommending targeted interventions such as increasing scholarships, providing financial aid for economically disadvantaged students, and improving access to quality education. It emphasizes creating an enabling environment by reducing dropout rates, establishing more schools and colleges in Muslim-majority areas, and integrating madrasa education with mainstream curricula. While it advocates for affordability and accessibility in education, it does not propose free education for all Muslims at premier institutions or otherwise. Moreover, the Sachar Committee report advocates free and compulsory education for all children, including Muslims, as part of a broader national goal to improve literacy and reduce dropout rates, in line with India's constitutional framework and policies like the Right to Education Act. The fifth claim is the recognition of madrasa degrees for eligibility in competitive examinations. Recommendation number 22 of the Sachar Committee report advocates for the modernization of madrasa education by introducing subjects like science, mathematics, and English alongside religious studies to improve the overall quality of education. It emphasizes integrating madrasas into the mainstream education system by recognizing their degrees as equivalent to regular school qualifications. It also recommends recognition of the degrees from madrasas for eligibility in competitive examinations such as the civil services, banks, defense services, and other such examinations. The sixth claim is that the committee recommended reserving 30% of MP seats and 40% of MLA seats for Muslims, but the report does not make such a recommendation. It does discuss the underrepresentation of Muslims in political spaces and calls for measures to improve their participation, including more rational delimitation of constituencies, which ensures Muslim majority constituencies are not reserved for scheduled castes. The committee also emphasizes the importance of ensuring nomination procedures to increase Muslim participation at local levels. However, the report does not propose any specific quotas for Muslims in parliament or state assemblies on the scale mentioned in the viral post. Claim 7 is the reservation of 50% of the seats in boards, institutions, and government jobs for Muslims. However, the committee did not make such a recommendation, but it did emphasize improving Muslim participation in various sectors, particularly in public facing roles like teaching, health, police, and banking. Recommendation number 28 of the report suggests efforts to increase Muslim representation, especially in positions with public contact. The report advocates for greater inclusion through measures like more transparent recruitment processes and creating a visible recruitment process in Muslim majority areas to build trust and confidence. It also suggests that employers should be encouraged to become equal opportunity institutions to increase Muslim representation in government jobs and public services. Claim 8 is about special industrial zones for Muslims with free electricity and land. While the report does not specifically recommend this, it does emphasize the need for enhanced access to credit for Muslims, especially for self-employed individuals and small businesses. It highlights the limited access to financial resources, particularly in Muslim majority areas, and calls for better participation in microcredit schemes and entrepreneurial development programs through institutions like NABARD and SIDBI. The report also suggests incentivizing banks to open more branches in Muslim populated areas and addressing discrimination in loan disbursal, but it does not propose extreme measures of debt-free loans or special industrial zones. Claim 9 is about the committee recommending a government subsidy for the marriages of Muslim women, but the report does not specifically recommend providing 5 lakh rupees for the marriage of a Muslim woman or 10 lakh rupees for a Muslim boy to start a business. Instead, the report focuses on improving access to credit, financial inclusion, and entrepreneurship for marginalized Muslim communities. It calls for more inclusive financial policies overall. Finally, the 10th recommendation seen in the post is that any village, town, city or district with a Muslim population above 25% should have reservations exclusively for Muslims to contest elections. But there is no such recommendation in the report. What it does address is the issue of the underrepresentation of Muslims in political spaces, particularly in constituencies that are reserved for scheduled castes, despite having a significant Muslim population. The committee suggests that rational delimitation procedures should be implemented to prevent constituencies with a high minority population, especially Muslims, from being designated as reserved for SC candidates. This would enhance the opportunity for minorities, particularly Muslims, to contest and be elected, thereby improving their political representation. In February 2014, the UPA government stated that it had accepted 72 out of 76 recommendations made by the Sachar committee and that it had made 43 decisions to implement them. In 2018, the NDA government also released a list of schemes, programs and decisions that were implemented in the country based on these 72 accepted recommendations of the Sachar committee report. To sum up, as the Sachar committee report does not endorse the extreme claims being attributed to it on social media, this post is fake. Join our YouTube membership program and be a part of the journey of making public data meaningful. And remember, before you hit that forward button, pause.